from wherever you're watching us. You're tuned into Channels Television. This is Sports This Morning. And my name is Yemi Adebayo. It gives me so much pleasure to welcome you to the show this lovely morning. And of course, we do what we normally do at this time on this station, that is taking you on a trip across the world of sports. Once again, welcome. Well, let's check out the headlines this lovely Friday morning. And of course, the Super Falcons, they're ready to shine. The six-time African champions are ready. Everything is in tip-top shape, and the team has promised to do Nigeria proud in Namibia. Of the Super Eagles. A lot of rumors flying around about the future of the big boss, but it continues, and we wait to see what happens to the former Togo and Mali handler as it continues to wait for his employers to decide on what happens to him as the manager of the national team. World number one Serena Williams pulls out of the China Open owing to injury. The world number one is pulling out of the second tournament in succession due to injury. So we'll fill you in with all of that as the show progresses this lovely morning. And of course, few hours before we came into the studio, Lewis Hamilton wins the second practice session of the Japanese Grand Prix. The first practice session was won by his Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg. And of course, we'll wait to see as we keep monitoring the race to see what happens. All right, that's the headlines for you this lovely Friday morning. But of course, they say that scoring goals is what makes football exciting. So what we're going to do, we're going to go on a break. We're going to allow you to see goals, not just goals, many goals. We'll take you to the Dutch League, allow you to see what's been happening with defending champions Ajax as they take on NAC Breda in the Dutch Eredivisie. We'll take a look at all the goals, enjoy it, and when we come back, Cecilia Morogwe joins me as we take a look at all of the things we've highlighted for you, talking about the Super Falcons, talking about the Super Eagles this morning, the Globe Premier League on the domestic scene, big games across Europe, and of course, tennis, China Open, Japan Open. And of course, we'll try to spare a thought for the race on the Formula One calendar that's going down this weekend. That's the Japanese Grand Prix. All of that for you on Sports This Morning. John Ske. Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is Sports This Morning on your award-winning channels television. And of course, you can get your thoughts across to us. And this is how you can do it, especially on the things we've talked about. On Facebook, channels iPhone Sports, on Twitter at channels_sports, my personal Twitter handle at Yemi Adebayo20. You can get your views across to us, speak out and be heard. Lend your voice, especially on the issues surrounding the big boss, Stephen Keshi, the Falcons, and of course the big games in Europe this weekend. Okay, well, let me quickly welcome Cecilia Omorogbe. She joins me now as we take a look at a lot of things, including women.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Well, we're talking about the ladies a lot this morning, and you can understand why Cecilia is here with us. But let's start with the FIBA Basketball Women's World Cup quarterfinal stage. We talked about it yesterday, and you know, it's looking pretty good. Let's look at the quarterfinal fixtures, and that's it on your screen. Cecilia, big one. Spain take on China, Turkey take on Serbia, Australia take on Canada. Then this one, United States take on France.
Well, I think the tricky one is definitely going to be between Spain and, of course, China. If you check China, for them, they've achieved the impossible, getting to the quarterfinals for the first time in their history. But for the Spanish side, remember they won the Euro Basketball Championship in 2013, and the last edition, they actually finished third. So they will also be aiming for that, to finish at the podium, because if you're looking at USA, I think that's the team to actually watch. But this particular game, you wouldn't want to bet against them, definitely. You're right about that. Now, for Spain, one of their players, actually, Silvia Dominguez, actually said that he actually want them to be smart enough, impose their game on China, and see how they can combat them, because the Chinese are very, very fast.
And athletic.
For them, and athletic, of course. For them to have gotten to this position simply means they are good. So for Spain, they're definitely going to be facing a tough one to see how they can, get to the podium. Turkey and Serbia. Well, for Serbia, their game against Cuba wasn't really that fantastic. Of course, the coach actually wanted them to work on the deficiency and see how they can take out the host nation, but that will be a difficult game for them. But all they need to do, if they can work on what they had against Cuba, see how they can overcome some of their lapses they suffered against Cuba. Maybe they can just ensure that the host nation are out. Australia, Canada. Of course, for Canada, another team, for the first time they are getting to the quarterfinals since 1994. And for Australia, that is the big team, a stronger opposition for them. But Canada, they're brimming with confidence. They've been playing fantastic basketball so far in the tournament.
And a lot of things to develop the game
as well. Course. So that's, I think Australia might just take this one. USA and France, so you're seeing the repeat of what happened at the Olympic Games in 2012. Yeah. Of course, the USA, we know they won 86-50, which was really a huge one for them. But they definitely want to improve on that. Remember in the warm-up game, the French team actually defeated the Americans in the warm-up game in preparations for this tournament. But that's notwithstanding, the American teams, when it comes to this championship, they're definitely always a force to be reckoned with. But I think USA will take this one. My team in the semi-finals, I'm looking at Spain in the semi-finals. I'm looking at USA in the semi-finals, because Australia in the semi-finals. Serbia and Turkey is going to be a very tight one.
Okay, that's Cecilia for you. Taking a look at the Women's Basketball World Cup, and I'll just say one thing: don't bet against the United States. That's all. All right, let's move. Let's talk about the Super Falcons now. And what do you have for us? What's the latest update? Everybody expected is there.
Yes, of course. That's a good news.
It's time to redeem their image.
That's what they're saying. But I'm afraid for Coach Edwin Okon. I'm afraid for him simply because you remember the last time he said it's actually growing gray hairs because the players did not arrive on time. Now the players are here. He said he wants to pick the best legs. But what we were thinking is this. Now, with these players arriving very late on Tuesday afternoon, of course, Wednesday morning, you're having the likes of Francesca Odega, of course, you're having the likes of Zia Okpanoze, Perpetua Nkocha, all of them arriving late. And how would they be able to blend with this crop of young players? Remember, we have some of the players from the under 20
8 days to go.
Precisely 8 days to go. They're still in Abuja. We know that. Why some teams are already there, the likes of Ghana, you know, the likes of Algeria, they're already in the host nation, of course, fine-tuning their preparations. And another thing for the Super Falcons is that they never had a grade A friendly game, so to speak. And the last preparations, they've been playing against different academy across Nigeria. That's another thing I'm looking at.
You're usually optimistic, but the picture you're painting now, I'm a bit scared. But
I'm trying to have a build, they build up to the games in case whatever happens, so that Nigerians will not start calling for their heads. But I think the girls, knowing what they can do, as usual, check the under-20, they didn't have the best of preparations, but at least they went all the way to the finals. But for the women's, for the African Women Championship, I think with the blend of what we have, the young and the old should be enough. I think they can actually put in their best. If you'd like, check the likes of Desiree Akpana-Rinoze. She's been scoring in a club in France, and bringing that into camp will definitely be a huge one.
The question people will ask you, and I'm going to put that to you, Cecilia, is what should our expectation be like?
I think we have all it takes to actually bring the trophy.
Okay.
We have all it takes.
Let's leave it at that and take the word from the expert in women's football. She says we have enough to, in spite of the picture she's painted, that we have enough to go to Namibia and bring back the trophy. Well, let's wait and see how that pans out. Let's still talking about the ladies now and looking ahead to next year, and that's the World Cup. What are the ladies saying?
No, they actually said
interesting.
Most of the stadiums that the tournaments will be played actually have artificial turf. So the girls are saying that they cannot play on that because usually subject them to injury. And of course, fundamentally, they may not really be prepared for those turfs.
Does it allow them to play their best?
Their best, exactly. So they're asking FIFA and of course CAS that look, see how you can do this. They're even suing FIFA for it. They need them to actually move the games from those stadiums that have been earmarked for them to move it to the stadiums whereby they have natural grass. And they made mention of the fact that you have all the World Cup, men, usually they play on grass. So how come the women, they're different? So it's more like discrimination against women football.
At some point, it will always come to that.
So
if you guys can get something,
so why can't they also get it? So if you want them to play good football and not subject them to injury, I think the best bet is for them to play on grass.
Okay, all right. Well, we hope that all things will be sorted out.
Of
course, we
hope
that our Super Falcons will be there. And do not forget, the AWC is like a qualifying tournament.
What do you mean will be there? The best three definitely qualify. So you're saying Nigeria first, second, and third?
I'm hoping a disaster of immense proportions do not happen. But we've seen the last time we were fourth. What if that happened?
We've never missed.
No, the last time we were in the fourth position.
We were not preparing for
if it happens that way,
we're not preparing for the World Cup, so we know what we're preparing for. So that's alone at the back of their mind. Definitely,
forgive me for being
put in their best.
a little bit pessimistic, but I'm hoping for the best, and I'm hoping all things will be sorted out.